What's going on? It's time for an update. This is most likely going to be one of my most important updates so far for my trading because today was a very pivotal day in my trading. And you're probably thinking, well, how's it pivotal? You're down 400 bucks. It's because today shed light on a couple of main issues in my psychology and trading and why I've been in so much like a rut, right? And really, first off, to put it really bluntly, February's been probably my worst trading month to date. Now, I've been trading for about 5 months now. 2 months, first 2 months, I didn't really know what I was doing. Last 2 to 3 months has been more so with actually refining a strategy and, uh, with, I'd say, like an actual plan, right? So in total, 4 to 5 months trading. So I'm still very new, but February has been by far the worst for my system. It's been by far the worst for my psychology and my mentality. And I want to talk about first off what started this today, how I got down to negative 390 bucks, and what's been happening so far and what I've learned because I think it's really going to help you. And again, it's going to be a hugely pivotal point in my trading because I know I'm going to look back on this and think that this is really going to help and it's a great sort of checkpoint for where I'm at. And I think majority of traders go through this. Some might go through it earlier, some might go through it later. I'm actually glad that I'm going through this stuff now quite early on in my journey because I know that I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to be thankful for it. So instead of getting mad about this stuff, don't worry, I was tilted today and I'll talk about why. But now that I'm learning this stuff, I can actually journal on it, I can actually work on it, and I can fix it from here, right? There's a lot that I can prevent, and there's a lot that I can do from here to fix, or at least to improve on, to tweak what I've been doing wrong, not just in my trading, but in my mentality, my psychology towards trading, right? So this might really help you. Now, today, this was the initial plan. Okay, we're not looking at the chart here. This is where I lost the money, but I want to talk about the first trade that I went and took today. And this was at about 9 to 10 in the morning, right? And I saw this beautiful setup form, really fit my system, where we touched here on protected structure. So PS means protected structure, S means sweep. So it's swept protected structure. Now this was on I think this was on the 2 minute time frame, I'm pretty sure. I think it was on the 2 minutes. So this for me is like an A plus setup. It's one that if I look back on my trading data, it has a high percentage chance of working. We were bullish. Um, I wanted to take this trade here, got this entry. I wanted to ride it to this first initial week high. So what ended up happening with this trade was if I hit this trade, it would have been about 650 to 700 bucks. That would have been uh, a great day. I probably would have been just one and done for the day. 700 bucks up on the day on a 50k eval would have been great. I would have just stopped there, right? So that was the plan. The plan was to just take this trade. It was playing out well, and once it was done, either lock myself out or just don't touch the charts, and would have been a good day for trading, right? So what ended up happening was first off, I got into this with a bit of a late entry because first off, I found that I was not trusting myself in the entry and I wanted to wait for more confirmation, right? I could have got in down here. I could have got in down here and this would have saved this whole fiasco, which I'll explain in a second, but I just got in a bit late. That's fine. Still a good risk to reward for me, and the risk was decent. I think on this trade I was maybe risking about 200 to 250 bucks. I think it was about 250 bucks on this trade, which was all right for a 50k account, right? So what ended up happening, this is how it played out. Price came up, price came down. Now, I know for a fact with gold, it likes to revisit price a lot. But usually what happens is it revisits, comes down, and might touch the break even, usually around break even or around the entry point, and will continue up. So I thought, okay, it touched it once. I'm not going to set break even because I've been tapped out at break even before. And just leave it. It came back up. And then as we had this big rejection candle, I thought this actually might reverse. So obviously hindsight now, I could have switched time frames, and it's always hindsight's 2020, right? But in my mind, I thought, okay, this actually could reverse. And it started reversing on this candle. And I set my break even. Okay, this is where the first issue of my psychology comes in, right? It touches my break even, and then it just starts shooting up. And what ended up happening after this, I don't have the rest of the chart here, but it ended up not revisiting this area again. It just came up and it just up, down, up, down, up, down. And then about an hour later, right, it just continued going up and an hour later, it hit my take profit. So that obviously tilted me because I thought, look, I've just been not having the best month with trading. This would have been a great way to swing back into momentum and would have shown me, okay, sweet, proof, like further proof that the system that I've got, that I'm tweaking is actually working, right? And funnily enough, the trade ended up playing out, but it took me out of break even. So that tilted me a little bit. And what ended up happening was after I got the break even, I thought, look, it actually might end up reversing here and shorting from this point. So I actually, this is where the issue of psychology comes in, right? This is where the losses happen, or the loss happened. I got into a short and I instantly realized that this was a dumb idea. Why am I getting in straight after I got taken out in a break even where my bias was bullish? Why am I entering in a short? So I got out, loss of $50. I was like, just get off the chart. I went for a walk and just got off the chart for at least a few hours, right? But that first tilted me. And the first issue of psychology that I found with this was that why am I entering break even? That shed a lot of light. And I was talking to a couple of people in the community that I'm in, community that I'm learning trading from, called Trading Pool. And basically one of the more experienced traders was saying that it can come down to a lot of experience, but it's just, time on the charts and you'll refine your data over time. And the reason he was talking to me about that was because, hey, he asked me, was there psychology issues? Why did you set the break even there? And I found out that, for me, I tried to make sense of it saying, hey, I set break even because price looks like it reversed and we had a break of structure. No, it was because I was scared that the trade was going to lose and I was going to lose money, right? If I just got off the chart and didn't micromanage it and just left it, it would have played out. I could have come back in an hour and I would have been at take profit, right? Up like 650, 700 for the day. So that was the first issue. The second issue was I ended up coming back and trading gold later today in the afternoon around London session. And I wanted to take this long, here. So this here, if I go to the 2-minute, right, this here looked like a break of structure to me. Came up, came down, was still bullish, obviously. And when we had this rejection, I entered up here because in my mind, we were still continuing up. Now I look at this now, if I go to the 5-minute, it didn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. And when I look at this now, I think, why am I entering so early? Why am I not waiting until price actually comes down to an actual area of, say, support, right? Where I can actually get a good setup off, right? This would have been, even if I lost here, and this was the first trade, this would have been more valid than this one, right? So I entered along here, and then I think I entered another short as well. And what ended up happening was I had the long, it came down, and then it came back up. I got break evened, and then I think I entered another long here because I wanted to enter here, and then it came up. I didn't set break even this time. I was like, let's not set break even. The one time I don't set break even, it goes down, takes me out. And that was like I was risking about, I think, $300 on that trade, right? So that pretty much summed up the losses today. But the issue with my psychology and why these losses happened, they were completely avoidable, right? It wasn't a systematic loss. I found that I have an issue when it comes to me trading, and then I get hit on break even, and either price continues in my direction, or maybe I could be on a losing streak, and then I have a trade that could play out, high probability, and then I have that thought in the back of my mind, or I question my setup, and then I set my break even earlier, or I set my break even when I shouldn't, and then takes me out of break even and then continues up to my take profit, or continues down to my take profit, right? So the two main issues and why this is really important to bring up. The first one is that when it comes to me being taken out of break even, especially after I've been through like a lot of losses and I've maybe been on a losing streak, and then I have a trade where I don't trust my setup and it ends up playing out, but I get taken out of break even. That tells me, because then I think, hey, look, I actually had a valid setup like this morning, and I would have actually been able to swing back into some momentum and actually, get some wins going. That was the first thing. The second thing I found was that when I was doing really well on my funded account, when I was passing those evaluations, which seemed like a pretty chill, to be honest, because I was passing some of these evaluations like within a week, right? And that was pretty good, especially for me being a beginner. And it was because I was focused on the process. And when I started doing poorly and I blew my funded account and then again blew an eval account, it was because I was focusing on the numbers. I was focusing on how much can this trade make? What's the number? I was focusing all on the numbers instead of the process. Now, similar thing, as I'm watching this chart here, this just, again, is showing one of the flaws in my mentality. In my mind, I said to myself, hey, look, this is actually quite a heavy, like this is before I took the long as well. That lost me the money. I looked at this and said, hey, look, we're not making any higher highs here. More than likely what's going to happen is we're going to hit this point here and we're probably going to come down, right? At least to, and I actually set out a short to this point here, this low. Now what ends up happening, and funny thing is I didn't take this trade, by the way. This is me marking it out because I was about to take another long before I made this video, and I got myself off the charts and I said, what are you doing? Are you that desperate to try and get into the market, right? So I can get rid of this. And in my mind, I had this short, right? So it goes to show again, my first initial bias is actually always right. My problem isn't that I can't read the charts. It's my mentality. So I think this is really going to help you if you're someone that is really struggling, you're in a big rut with your trading and you're not really sure what the problem is. I would say whatever strategy you use, doesn't matter what strategy you use, it's going to come down to your psychology. And I know people say that, people just say fix your psychology. But the one thing that has been helping me is making sure that these flaws in my psychology when it comes to trading, right? It could be based around money. It could be based around you don't want to be wrong. It could be based around anything, right? I found that I'm okay with having a losing day. It's not that I don't know how to end on a red day. But my issue comes from wanting to set a break even too early because I want to save my capital. And it's like a fear of losing the trade. If I lose the trade, then it's like, okay, I lose the trade. But it's like, if I can set a break even and I don't have to lose the trade, then I set a break even and it ends up happening like where I set it too early and then it goes to my take profit. That's where my issue lies. And my issue lies in focusing on the numbers too much and instead of the process, right? So if you are someone that's similar to me, where you feel like it's like, because the way I thought about it, it's like I'm so close to catching these big moves. I'm so close to catching these good setups. Why can't I catch them? Why do I just get taken out? Or why do I just get my break even hit and then it goes to my take profit? Comes down to just a couple of issues with psychology, right? And that is what allows you to have the patience to get a better entry or have the foresight to just trust your system more so you can get in earlier so you've got a better setup and not set a break even when you don't need to, or enter when it's actually a good opportunity. Like right now, okay, if I'm in my normal state of mind and I, like the state of mind that got me my funded accounts and whatnot, and I look at this chart, I think, okay, this, price is dropping, okay, on gold, and we don't even need to look for a setup until it makes sense, right? There's been times this month where I would look at this chart and I'd say I would kick myself because I'd missed this move, as I explained before. But I think the issue here lies in it doesn't matter if you miss a move. There's always going to be another move, right? So I just thought I should update you on this and talk about my psychology because I think it's a hugely pivotal moment. And when I fix these and tweak these things with my psychology and realize that if I trade in the mindset of focusing on the process, where I just take the exact same trade, okay? If I just take this trade, a trade that looks like this, over and over, because these setups happen quite often, whether it's on the 1 minute, the 3 minute, the 5 minute, sometimes the 15 minute. It's where I usually trade in the lower time frames. If I just focus on just doing that same trade over and over and over again, and I just refine that system, I'll be profitable. I'll pass fundeds. I'll get payouts. I'll build capital. And I can actually take less trades, right? So that might be another issue for you as well. If you're someone that maybe you might like revenge trading, or maybe you just go on tilt completely. One thing that I'm glad that I don't do is just continue trading. I'm okay with, like, if it's a loss of 391 bucks, that's it. And I'm actually going to minimize my daily drawdown as well. I might even make it just like 300 for the day instead of 400, and just minimize that as well. So I'm okay with that. I fixed that pretty quickly. Now the next issue is to fix taking setups too early, trying to get into the market too early because you think that you're going to miss a move. That's my current issue, right? And also setting break evens too early. So I know I was pretty much rambling here in this video, but had a lot that I wanted to get off my chest, and a lot that I wanted to get out of my brain. And I think even just in my rambling, you might get a lot out of this as well. So lessons learned from here. There's a lot of lessons to be learned, but the main thing is that everyone goes through this. I know people that have been going through this for 2-3 years, even longer. So I'm thankful that I'm getting out of this muck early on, because this is what's going to allow me to really face what's wrong in my psychology when it comes to trading, and how to fix it, right? So anyway, hope you're having a wonderful day or night wherever you're watching. Stay safe. I'll continue updating you guys on what's been going on. Obviously, the goal from here is still get that funded account, get some payouts, but better yet, not even the money. Let's not talk about the money. Just refine my system and gain confidence in my system to the point where I can just take a trade, get off the charts. See you later. Set some notifications. Set some notifications on TradingView, right, for my take profit, and just trust in the system, right? That's the goal. So I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you're watching. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next one.